Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. If you're new, this is where Maga comes to talk. We got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about Alina here and what happened with Alina Habba yesterday. We're going to talk about the E. Jean Carroll verdict. We're going to talk about the greatest president ever, President Trump, and a whole bunch more because news is breaking by the minute. And I got a lot of things to cover. And, of course, we always take calls. When I'm live streaming, we always take calls on the program. In fact, let me put the number in the chat. I usually do that before the stream, but I forgot to do it. Now, so much has happened, and I'm not going to go through the merits of E. Jean Carroll and Trump's case because we all know that all of these cases against President Trump are complete BS, okay? He didn't do any of the things they've accused him of. Let me just put the number in. All right, there we go. Okay, all right, so there's the call-in number. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. And if you'd like to call in during the live stream, you can just call that toll-free number pinned to the top of the chat. We know that all these cases are complete BS, right? He didn't do anything that they've accused him of, and I'm talking about all the cases, not just this E. Jean Carroll lunacy, but the documents case, the D.C. case, whatever case, the Skank or Stormy Daniels, I think I had the name right the first time. All these cases are complete nonsense, okay? It's lawfare to the infinity degree. I mean, that's just the way it is, okay? President Trump is the most popular man ever to be president of the United States, ever, going back to George Washington, right? He's the most populous politician in the history of the United States. There has never been a president, a presidential candidate, a national political figure as popular as President Trump. And that is a fact. And like I say, I'm going all the way back to George Washington. And the establishment just can't handle it. We were talking over the last week about this bribe attempt against Kari Lake, right, that she turned down. All of these other people that make their way into Congress, the Senate, or the presidency, other than Donald Trump and a very select few like the great Marjorie Taylor Greene and a handful of others, all these other people, especially at the Senate level and the presidency level, have either been groomed from a very early age like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was recruited as a very young man in college to be president. Barack Obama, the same thing, right? Barack Obama was groomed from the time he was, in middle school, maybe even younger, all right, to be a president one day. Others are like they try to do with Kari Lake. They're bribed or blackmailed. And you see things going on with politicians right now after the Kari Lake incident that makes you question what's going on. It's Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. This massive invasion going on at the southern border, and Mike Johnson, what's he doing? Nothing. And you got to ask yourself, has he been blackmailed? Is he being bribed like they were trying to do to Kari Lake? You got to ask yourself this, right? So this is what's going on. And because Trump cannot be bribed or blackmailed, and believe me, they've tried everything, they will never stop. So all these cases are just complete BS. I mean, there's so it's not even worth going through the details of any of the cases themselves, other than going through, the background of what motivated him. Like E. Jean Carroll, for example, the guy that was backing her case, her legal team, which is very expensive, was a big donor, the LinkedIn guy, big donor to Nikki Haley's Democrat run for the Republican nomination, okay? So, I mean, that's what's going on here. Nikki Haley is an extension of E. Jean Carroll. Nikki Haley is an extension of Jack Smith and Merrick Garland's efforts, all those things. So let me go through some of it. There's a lot we're going to cover on the stream today, but I wanted to start with Alina Habba because, when she came out yesterday and had this epic press conference, I thought it was just amazing. There used to be a time when we had all of these celebrity lawyers. Remember those days, the era of the celebrity lawyer, the celebrity attorney? We haven't had any of that in quite some time, and Alina Habba really is the first nationally known celebrity attorney that we've had maybe since the O.J. Simpson trial days. And this little moment with her in the press is one of the most epic moments in the history of the celebrity lawyer phase of our nation's legal. She's a great lawyer for Trump. She's absolutely amazing. Watch this.
No.
Yeah, don't you love it? Whoever this jerk off is on the side, she just immediately just no. Yeah, I mean that Trump hires the best.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do. What I am having second thoughts about is the license that I stand here with that the people in there are supposed to have. I have not spoken because I respect my ethics while I'm on trial. But let me now speak about what has happened. I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this. Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York. So don't get it twisted, whoever asked me that question. I am so proud to stand with President Trump. But I am not proud to stand with what I saw in that courtroom. I'm not finished. Let me just finish and I'll take questions, please.
I love it.
Before I walked into court, that judge decided that every single defense President Trump had, we were not allowed to raise in front of the jury. It is in writing, and I encourage the journalists, the real journalists, to take the minute to look at his orders. There was no proof. And I couldn't prove that she didn't bring in the dress. There was no DNA. There was no expert. My experts were denied. Two of them were denied to come in. They didn't let me bring up that Reid Hoffman funded Miss Kaplan. And you know what we got in there? That my witness, who was her friend, who said that she is a drug addict and the drug addict is herself. That friend, I found out in there, was paid for by Miss Kaplan's firm, and that is disgusting. That is a violation of everything I stand for, and that is why I stand with Trump. And that is why so many Americans are so proud that he is running again and so excited to run to the ballot box. But don't get it twisted. We are seeing a violation of our justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not allowed to be stripped of every defense that you have. You are not allowed to be told that you can't bring it up. And imagine a point where a judge tells the lawyer, before your client, the former president of the United States, the leading candidate and obvious nominee for the Republican Party, before he takes the stand to defend himself, Ms. Habba, tell me the questions you're going to ask in open court and tell me exactly what he's going to respond. And then edited my questions, edited the response he was allowed to give.
Okay, now I just want to stop there. I'm going to rewind it so you get to hear everything. Have any of you ever heard of such a thing in the American court system where a witness, their attorneys have to give the judge the questions and the answers prior to testimony, and then the judge gets to edit those questions and the answers? Isn't that something that happens in open court, and then the other lawyer objects, and then the judge makes a ruling on that? I've never heard of something like this. Now, if this is normal, I don't know. If legal experts say this is normal, that would come, I think, as a shock to most every single American. I've never heard of any crap like that before. All right, let's get back to it. I did rewind it a little bit because I don't want to miss an utterance of this epic moment.
Before your client, the former president of the United States, the leading candidate and obvious nominee for the Republican Party, before he takes the stand to defend himself, Ms. Habba, tell me the questions you're going to ask in open court and tell me exactly what he's going to respond. And then edited my questions, edited the response he was allowed to give. And guess what my client did? He took the stand. He abided by the rules of this corrupt system that I have seen. We will immediately appeal. We will set aside that ridiculous jury. And I just want to remind you all of one thing. I will continue with President Trump to fight for everybody's First Amendment right to speak. Everybody's a right to defend themselves when they are wrongfully accused, and to be able to say, I didn't do it. And to double and triple and quadruple down and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. But we are in the state of New York. We are in a New York jury, and that is why we are seeing these witch hunts, these hoaxes, as he calls them. And this is another one of them. Be brought in New York, in states where they know they will get juries like this. It will not deter us. We're fighting. And I assure you, we didn't win today, but we will. The record that was made in there, and the behavior I saw in there, some of which was reported widely today, gave us the most perfect record on appeal. And even if I needed it, which I don't, we were stripped of every defense, every single defense before we walked in there. And I am proud to stand with President Trump because he showed up, he stood up, he took the stand, and he faced this judge. And you know what? I'll continue to do so with him. Yes.
Okay. So that's Alina Habba. You know, this is insane to me. Now, I will disagree with one thing that Alina Habba said. She says we didn't win today. I think President Trump did win yesterday. I think he did win. You know, I remember when Trump came out of Trump Tower during the first campaign. You guys remember this? And he said, Obama's spying on me. Remember that? And the press laughed. They made fun of him. Jerk-offs like Jake Tapper, you know, laughing on television at that. And then we find out that not only was it true, they've never stopped spying on him. Even when he was in the Oval Office, they were spying on the Oval Office. And this is something that Barack Obama had set up and authorized as president. And Joe Biden was involved in that. And he wasn't as checked out in a vegetative state like he is today, Biden. You know? So a lot of people, though, in this country that were not MAGA thought that we were nuts. They thought President Trump was... They thought that it was lunatic conspiracy theories that Obama was spying on him, that these cases were lawfare. They thought we were nuts. And they've gone after him. And I don't know, how many cases are there? 5, 7? There's so many, it's hard to even keep track against President Trump with these lunatics, with this lawfare, both criminally and civilly. And people around the country have woken up to this. You know, not everyone's some Marxist, black racist lesbian like Jean-Pierre. You know, most people in this country, regardless of their sexuality or skin color, want to have a trust in our justice system. And they don't like this lawfare that's going on. And so I think they won yesterday because I think it was yet another confirmation that President Trump is being victimized by all this lawfare that's going on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Troy in Texas.
Hey, what's up, Texas?
Hey, well, as far as I'm concerned, we're in Trump's second term right now. You know, to take out the trash, sometimes you got to figure out where it's at.
Yeah, well, you know, the cockroaches have been smoked out. There's no doubt about it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unofficial term, but he's MAGA's president. He's the boss. These people can't stand it. But this is a shakedown of him, just like the threat and the shakedown for Kari Lake.
Well, you know,
and it's shakedown of the American people.
You're right, but it's also what it is. It's an act of desperation, and they're going to get more desperate as we get through the primary season and get closer to November, because there's a lot of people that have been doing a lot of crime. Merrick Garland, these judges, you know, that judge and clerk in the property value case in New York, Fannie and her boy toy. All these people have been committing so many crimes. And, you know, like you notice, Fannie in Fulton County was coordinating with the Biden White House now. We have documented proof of that. So what's going to happen is they're going to be afraid that they're going to be going to jail. And when it gets closer to them having to face consequences with Trump's return in January next year, they're going to quadruple down and make things worse because they're fighting for their freedom and survival at this point.
They're running scared, and and they should be, but it's putting America through a lot. The Constitution.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a good. I
them.
think it's been a good thing. You know, I don't
Oh,
think
I do too.
I
I
don't
do
think
too.
anyone, including President Trump, I don't think anyone knew how vast and deep the swamp was. And these last 3 years, we've seen it at levels we did not even realize existed. I think
That's
so.
why I consider him as an American. That's why I consider him this being his second term. It's unofficial, but he's doing what he said in his first term.
Draining the
he's
swamp.
Expose the swamp. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Texas.
Great show, Brian.
And you're in Texas. I mean, my goodness. You know, what's going on in Texas right now. We've got the convoy of truckers heading to Eagle Pass. And, you know, Texas is standing strong. I only have one question. I don't know why Governor Greg Abbott has been out of the country. He was in Asia. I don't know what he's doing over in Asia while this confrontation is going on at the border down there. But
yeah, I have no idea what he's doing in Asia. It's probably some kind of prior commitment or something he had going on. You know, Texas has its own economy, and it has its own ports. It has its own just about everything. And Governor Abbott, you know, he's on the outs during COVID because he was. There were some shutdowns. There were people trying to run their businesses that were going to jail and.
Yeah, but I can't. I got to
and
live in the now, not 3 years ago. And I got to tell you, Greg Abbott's been doing amazing work down there.
No, that's right. And
At the
Ken
border.
Paxton said the other day on one of his interviews that Governor Abbott has been trying, and trying is not doing. He's been trying to run this through the legal system. And he said we'd get a victory, and then we'd get a setback, and they'd change their tactic. And he said Abbott's just fed up with it at this point.
Absolutely. Well, listen, appreciate the call from Texas. All right, take care. You're all welcome to call in if you're watching live. The number's pinned to the top of the chat. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. You'll enjoy my content, I promise you. This is the most pro-Trump, pro-MAGA place you will find anywhere, I promise you. And I live stream 7 days a week. And when I'm live streaming from one of my studios, I am always taking calls like I'm doing this morning. All right. So I saw this article in Breitbart. This is just so sick of this. The Defeat MAGA network. And, that's, and they're hardcore now. This is in Breitbart this morning. A well-coordinated, well-funded, and high-powered network of leftist organizations led by a group whose efforts 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Rodham Clinton promoted, is behind the push to remove Donald Trump, the 2024 frontrunner for president, from any party from the ballot so that they can, do what it is they do. And I'll go through this story, but the Democrats pulled this crap, remember, with Lincoln. President Lincoln, in the 1860 election, was not on the ballot in the Southern Democrat states. The Democrats kept Lincoln off the ballot, and he still won by electoral college. Now, the country is much different now, but they're using that failed strategy that they used against Lincoln, the Democrats, against President Trump. Now, the Breitbart, though, article says this. It's much broader than that, though. See, President Trump, there's always been these, any Republican has always had leftist organizations against them, all right? That's just the way it's always been. But what President Trump has to deal with is not just the leftist, he has to deal with the Republican establishment too. It's the enemy within. Now back to Breitbart here, but it's more broad. It's much broader than that. For years, this network of leftists grew from a powerful, vast left-wing conspiracy unmasked a decade ago into now being the dominating force on the left, determined to stop Trump at all costs. This is the Defeat MAGA network. What's more, these leftists clearly control what top Democrats are saying, and I guess that would include Nikki Haley too, right? Forcing their leaders to adopt their narratives. They even regularly, openly brag about controlling what the sitting president of the United States says. That's that senile old coot, Joe Biden, taking credit for Biden's reelection campaign and the messaging of MAGA extremists and MAGA Republicans. Research compiled by Northeast Florida-based conservative grassroots activist Jessica Bowman shows the intricate links between these groups and just how sophisticated their operations happen to be. Bowman, the secretary of the libertarian-leaning Republican Liberty Caucus, was so alarmed by what she found, she provided this research to Breitbart exclusively ahead of its public release, the first installment of this bigger investigation of those well-funded, highly organized leftist groups. See, this is, I'm not going to go through this very long article. You guys, I did tweet this, and if you follow me on Twitter at Brian Craig Show, you can look that up. See, Donald Trump is the first and only president that has not been a part of the political establishment of the day. Okay, and they can't control him. The donors, the organizations, and everything else. And it's not just Trump they're afraid of. They're afraid of the next MAGA president and the next MAGA president after that one. They're trying to stop this trend. There are very few people that would be able to go through what Trump is going through. Okay, that's you know that, right? I mean that So they're trying to break him because they can't control him. And these people are afraid they're going to lose control of the country. They believe that it's their country. These leftist organizations, what they've always been able to do with great success is bully Republican politicians into things. Okay? And what would happen is something would happen, someone would say something, and then they'd get some leftist group to go out and call them a racist or an Islamophobe, et cetera, right? And then that Republican, within a couple of days, would resign or apologize and cooperate with them moving forward. And these militant leftists in the Democrat Party have, with Trump, and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and others in Kari Lake, have lost the ability to bully the top Republicans into bending to what they want them to do. And that's why they're so rabid right now, And I saw yesterday a lot of these so-called conservative influencers like Dave Rubin, and there's about a dozen of them. They're still out there promoting Ron DeSantis. See, Ron DeSantis, like Nikki Haley, these two Republicans are controlled by the donors, okay? They're controlled by the donors. And they're trying to plug someone in there, and they're trying to plug as many people as they can in around the country that they can control. And you look at Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, they're the perfect recruits, right? Neither of them come from family wealth or connections, and they both dream of having it. So they go out there and donate to them. Now, this thing I was talking about before the call with the court, see, the White House is being run by people like Karine Jean-Pierre, radical Marxist who are double minorities. Like Jean-Pierre hates America. I use her as an example because she's on TV every day at the Biden White House. She hates America. She hates white people. She hates straight people, okay? And that is the mainstream tone of people that are running this Obama-Biden administration that we have going on right now, okay? And, Biden is out there like he's speaking, If you've noticed, the Biden regime, led by Obama, they're trying to roll back what's going on at Eagle Pass, right? The 25 states signing on, supporting Texas, Kristi Noem sending razor wire, other states sending National Guard troops down there, and they see that public opinion is not on their side, and a standoff is about to happen. And Biden is starting to try to back off on that. And Biden, they're trying to make a deal with Mike Johnson, which they'll probably be successful because this guy Mike Johnson is obviously compromised and cannot be trusted. Biden, they proposed some border deal where they'll have some special machines that can detect fentanyl and all this crap. The reality of the situation is, okay, Biden wants these people here. And the lieutenant governor of Texas had a bit of a moment with the president, Dan Patrick, yesterday, and he made some brilliant points. This is the lieutenant governor of Texas.
And why would he want 8 million people to come to the country? Why? It makes no sense. Where do they live? Where do they work? Where do they go? All the children and women that are raped or sex trafficked when they get here, they drowned in the river, all his fault. So I believe, Catherine, it's because They have a long game, the Marxist leftist Democrats, because the Marxist leftists control the Democrat Party. It's not the Democrat Party of old.
That's right.
And they see this as potential voters one day, one way or the other. And that, I believe, it's all about. You have to have a reason. Every American citizen has to ask, why is Joe Biden allowing 8 million people to come here? The blue cities don't like it, the blue states don't like it, the red states don't like it. Crime is up. Fentanyl is our #1 killer. Why would any president do that? And going back to the invasion question of what does it, can you hold on a second? Can you hold a second? And go back to the question of the definition of an invasion. Our founders never believed that any president would ever just let millions of people come to the country.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, he says a lot of things that are very true. You know, letting these 8 million in. The Democrat position is, well, there's no option. Just let them in. Why? Well, you know, the Democrats, how they used to count the slaves as 3/5 of a person to allocate congressional districts, right? Don't believe that thing that they counted slaves as only 3/5 of a person. They counted slaves as 3/5 of a person so far as the census, so that they could get more members of the House of Representatives. Because the House of Representatives, how many representatives you have in your state is based on your state's population. And by the way, that was the Democrats. The Democrats were the slave owners. So the Democrats are using the illegals in a very similar way. They are moving illegals to certain pockets around the country so they'll be counted in the census. And that will affect congressional control. All right? Because there's only 435 seats in the House of Representatives. That's it. And every 10 years when we have a census, those seats are allocated. Some states gain seats in the House, some lose, but there can never be more than 435. So part of what they're doing is to get more in their mind, is get more control in the House of Representatives. And if this continues, they're going to be effective of that because Biden is bringing in, by their reports, and we know this is, conservative numbers, Biden's bringing in 4.6 million illegals a year. And we know it's many more than that, okay? 4.6 million a year. Plus, they reproduce. Many of them are pregnant when they get here, and they're not counting the unborn children in the womb or the babies they have in the year after they get here. So 4.6 million, that's Biden's number of illegals coming into the country every year during this Obama-Biden presidency we have going on. The birth rate in the United States is about 3.7 million. The death rate is about 3.6 million a year. So the illegals are coming here at a rate of 1 million, around about 1 million more than our birth rate, and our birth rate is barely keeping up with our death rate. And a lot of that has to do with all this gender confusion and things that are going on. Young men and women of childbearing years aren't having as much heterosexual sex as generations prior, and that has an impact. So when they're coming in here at a rate greater than our birth rate, it's only a matter of time, right? And that's what's going on here. Don't let anyone tell you the Great Replacement theory is racist. This is it. They call it racist on the left because it's true, and they want to try to intimidate people from talking about it. And they figure if they call people racist who do talk about it, that it will shut people up. And you know what? Some people will be shut down by that. And when I was talking about these Marxists that are running this country, look at this. This is New York City Hall. They're taking down the statue of Thomas Jefferson. Who would have thought? President Trump said, this would happen. Right? Look at this. This is insane. Look at that. And it's been there for 187 years as well. Thomas Jefferson. I mean, it's crazy, right? So, how's this allowed to happen? Well, it's pretty simple, okay? The people that are running the government right now of the United States at many, many levels, even the local level, like in New York City, they have not grown up being educated about America. They've grown up being educated about how evil America is. and they want to wipe out our nation's history so they can rewrite a new one about a nation of racist colonizers that came here, you know? And I know everyone's making fun of that rap video of Ben Shapiro, and it's well-deserved because he looks like a jackass in it. I watched it this morning. But I did watch the full-length Ben Shapiro rap video, and the guy that's the rapper in it, he's pretty good. And he said some things in it that are true. And in that Ben Shapiro rap song, the real rapper, I can't remember his name, he says, if all white people are racist, does that mean that all Muslims are terrorists? Right? They have decided, the people that are running this country, the Obamas, right, and I'm talking about Michelle too, that all white people not only are racist, that white people are born racist. Isn't that what critical race theory is all about? That an innocent little baby just outside the womb, still connected by the umbilical cord, is racist. And I remember the big deal after 9/11, not all Muslims are racist. Saying all Muslims are racist is like saying all white people are part of the Klan, right? Remember they used to talk about that. But now but it's not just that they're saying it. It is acceptable now. It is acceptable in mainstream liberal circles to just assume everyone who is white, who is living today and who has ever lived, is racist. And that the United States was founded by these racists. So that's how things like this are happening. And without Donald Trump getting this country back on track, we are in big, big trouble. Now, I want to tell you guys, Valentine's Day is here. Oop, almost dropped him, but I caught him. Valentine's Day is almost here. There's no better gift for Valentine's Day than the Mighty Maga Lion. Now, the Mighty Maga Lion is available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. There's a link in the description of the video, MightyMagaLion.com. This is the only Trump-inspired merchandise wearing the great MAGA hat. He's cute, he's cuddly, and he makes a great Valentine's Day gift. Again, these are available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. If you buy more than one, you get a discount. Okay? If you order this morning, your Mighty Maga Lion will be shipped out today, okay? I am going to the post office later today and will be shipping out the orders that came in this week. And if you order during the live stream, if you order this morning, your Mighty Maga Lion will be shipped out today. He is cute. He is cuddly. He is very well made. And, you know, This lion here, my wife and I, we partnered up with Dee, who's one of the moderators in the chat. We designed the lion and had them custom made. It is available nowhere else. MightyMagaLion.com. Whoever your Valentine Day is, they'll love it. And you can get one for yourself, too. MightyMagaLion.com. Again, there's a link in the description of the video. Now, all this talk about who the vice president is going to be, Kristi Noem, whoever. Someone that's been mentioned a couple times is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right? And she did a good job as the spokesperson for President Trump before McEnany, and now, of course, she's the governor of Arkansas.
Our border was far more secure under President Trump than under President Biden. I had the chance to go to the border myself, and while I was there, met with those who are standing on the front lines, including members of the Arkansas National Guard that we...
Okay, so here she is. She's standing with Texas, one of those 25 states, standing with Texas. So, and she, let me tell you, President Trump has always been close to her dad. When she was the White House press spokesperson, she was spectacular. And the press, I mean, they just were all over her. They hated her. She did such a great job. McEnany did a great job, too. But unlike McEnany, Sarah Huckabee is still with Trump. McEnany over in that Fox News bubble. So, her name has been mentioned as being on the short list. Now, I'll tell you, a thing about vice presidents. Typically, who the vice president is doesn't matter. No one votes for vice president, and we're not going to be voting for the vice president now. We're voting for Trump, okay? And the only reason that the vice presidential pick has any meaning to it this time around is pretty simple, because whoever becomes his vice president in this second term, it can walk into the nomination to be the second MAGA president in 2028. Now, someone in the chat. Beach Life said Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds cannot be Trump's running mate. He is a congressman from Florida, and you cannot have both candidates from the same state. If they're from the same state, they cannot get the electoral college votes from that state. And here in Florida, we got a lot of electoral college votes, so it can't be Byron Donalds. Okay, that doesn't mean he can't be the nominee in 2028, and I wouldn't mind him being our governor after Kinky Boots Ron DeSantis' second term is up here. But Byron Donalds cannot be his running mate, okay? I don't think it's going to be Kari Lake, and we really don't know who it's going to be. The only one that's being talked about that could bring anyone to the Trump train that's not already on it, of course, is Vivek Ramaswamy, who could bring young people. I don't want him to be the nominee. But like I said, whoever Trump picks, I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't care who he picks. But I wouldn't write off Sarah Huckabee. I think she's definitely on the short list. And what's most important to Trump this time around is making sure he can trust everybody. And she's shown loyalty to Trump. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yogi from the Catskill Mountains, New York.
Hey, Yogi. What's up?
Good morning. Just wanted to point out to you, I read in the New York Post this morning that the beautiful Museum of American Natural History was compelled by a Biden law to close 2 floors of the museum, which were dedicated to Native Americans.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that's so, it hurts because we take our kids there, and it's such an iconic place, and they're attacking it to attack everything that's good, and the history, as you were alluding to with the statue of by City Hall. So I just wanted to point that out. And
yeah, I saw that this morning. I mean, I don't know why they don't want people to learn about Indians. Anytime I've gone to like natural history museums or American museums, the part about the Indians is one of the coolest parts.
I believe that, part of their agenda is to entirely erase our history and distort it, and as you alluded to before, but that really hits home, because it's a place that for generations I went to when I was a kid. I took my children there. My children take their grandchildren there. So things are changing, and we definitely have to pray Donald Trump is reelected.
Absolutely.
And we have to all stay strong spiritually, because in many ways this is a spiritual war of good versus evil.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, well, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. Yeah, from New York. Yeah, if you're watching live, you can always call me live on the stream. The call-in number is pinned to the top of the live chat. Now, we were talking about Kari Lake. Vivek Ramaswamy came out and endorsed Kari Lake.
The slogan of my campaign was truth. Well, that means I'm going to support people who are willing to speak hard truths that other Republicans aren't. Kari Lake is one of those fearless Republicans, and that's why I'm going to endorse her for her candidacy for U.S. Senate, and I do expect her to be the next U.S. Senator from the state of Arizona. She's somebody who stands up for the border. It's a basic issue that I think is a nonpartisan issue right now. This isn't about Republicans versus Democrats, and the people who try to make it into that are the ones who have a vested interest in continuing this crisis. Kari Lake has been somebody who's been unafraid to speak out about it, and I think she's going to be one of the toughest senators we have on making sure that we seal that southern border without apologizing and without compromising on our principles. The other thing I love about Kari is that, one of the things I tried to do in my campaign was to stick it to the media, something that many Republicans dance around. Kari grew up from within that same establishment. She was a newswoman, but she wasn't part of it. She was always somebody who challenged that status quo, and then when she left, boy, does she know how to torch them. And that's exactly what she's done. I love that about her. I promise I'm not endorsing her just because I have fun and watching her, because she is entertaining at times. That's not why, although it's a nice plus to have. The reason I'm endorsing her is I think she's going to be an excellent senator and an excellent leader of this country, but also somebody who holds the media accountable, right? The media is supposed to hold the government accountable. They don't do that anymore. Well, if they're not doing that, who's holding the media accountable? And it's going to be the likes of leaders like Kari Lake. And so she has my full-throated support. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure she's successfully elected. And this is part of a broader America First movement that's going to live not just for the next 4 years, and it's going to succeed in the next 4 years, but for the next 250 years and then some after that. That's what this is about. And Kari, good luck. We're going to make sure you're successful.
Yeah, I mean so I'm glad that's a very powerful endorsement. Okay, and we need it. We need it. I mean, can you imagine Kari Lake? She's in the United States Senate. She's gonna be representing all of us, like Marjorie Taylor Greene does, right? I mean, it's gonna be she's a very tough person. She's someone you could trust. She turned down a bribe. The guy told her she could name her own number, and she turned it down. So that's amazing. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Harry calling from Mass.
Hey, man. Hey, Harry. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted you to know, Brian. Listen, God's on Trump's side. God
Absolutely.
already won the battle. So you notice every time the evil tries to do anything against Trump, they get whacked. You know what I mean? They get whacked.
Well, they lose.
So it's going to happen.
They lose. Yes.
Yeah, they get smacked down for trying to do anything against Trump. Whatever they try to do against Trump, God says, I'm going to go against them tenfold. And it's coming for them. The evil's going down every day. God already won the battle, and Trump. He wants Trump as our president, and he wants America. He knows how great America is, and he wants this country to win out. And he knows Trump's going to be the man, and no one's going to be able to stop him. They won't even be able to kill him, because if we get God on the side, who can go against God?
That's
or who
true.
or what can go against God?
That's true. All right, I appreciate the call. Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Okay, what I'm talking about with these swamp creatures. I mean, look at this. Mike Johnson, right? Matt Gaetz. He told us he was MAGA Mike Johnson. Look at this. This came out yesterday. House Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed that U.S. Ukraine aid is being negotiated in the Senate and will not pass the House. Okay. This guy, Mike Johnson, is the most powerful Republican in Washington right now. He could shut down everything until things are handled. There shouldn't be 10 cents going to Ukraine. In fact, they should be paying us back, right? Right? He could get the border secure. He could do it all. And what's he doing? He's playing games. It won't pass the House. He should shut down the government. And when he shuts down the government, that goes for the Senate as well, okay? And he's not doing it. And him not shutting down the government, we're in crisis right now. Him not shutting down the government is him working with Schumer. I know he acts like he's standing up to Schumer here, but it's the opposite. All right? He is working with Schumer and Biden by allowing the government to remain open. Now, Nikki Haley, this is insane to me. Let me see if I can enlarge this. Well, it won't enlarge, but I'll pull it up for you. Okay, this is Nikki Haley. This is after the E. Jean Carroll verdict came out, okay? Listen to what she wrote here. This is Nikki Haley, right after the E. Jean Carroll disgusting verdict yesterday. Nikki Haley, Donald Trump wants to be the presumptive Republican nominee, and we're talking about $83 million in damages. We're not talking about fixing the border. We're not talking about tackling inflation. America can do better than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. This tells you, this Democrat, Nikki Haley, it tells you everything you need to know, right? Right? She's not even upset at this kangaroo court system and the lawfare that's going on. All she cares about is the same thing Joe Biden cares about, getting paid. Nikki Haley cares about one thing and one thing only. She is in government for the same reason Joe Biden went into government, to get rich. And while we know that she got paid $8 million from the military-industrial complex, I'd like to see an update and see how much of that $8 million she has left. Wouldn't you? You know how these people go, right? Somebody gets a lottery windfall like that, and they blow through it. Now, I'll tell you, she's probably blown through most of it. Everyone got a new house. Everyone got new cars. Everyone got new clothes. Everyone got all the latest gizmos and gadgets. And you can go through $8 million real quick, okay? And she'll do anything to replenish that, and she's trying to do it now. What a sad disappointment, But, the thing about Nikki Haley, she's terrible, right? This is how all the Republicans always were before Trump came down the escalator. We were living in the Matrix. That's, this red pilling thing that comes from the Matrix is so spot on as a description. Even those of us that were Republicans before Trump came down the escalator, we've been red pilled too, because we've woken up to the fraud that is the Republican Party establishment. It was so frustrating. You guys were frustrated too. The Republicans never did a damn thing, and now we know why. They never wanted to do anything. They're just as bad as the Democrats. They're just as bad as Biden. They're all like Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. They're all that way, except Trump and a handful of people that have come along. Okay? And that's why we've been losers so long. These Republican establishments, jerks, have been laughing at us for decades. Now, this was insane. You know, Fetterman, you know, the Democrats were talking about running him for vice president, running him for president and all this stuff. Now they're going to start to call him brain damage because Fetterman keeps standing up for things Republicans stand for. He had a bunch of Palestinian terrorist supporters come to him in protest, and look what Fetterman did.
Fetterman, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide!
Okay, so these terrorist supporters... they go to his office here. They're saying he's supporting genocide, and Fetterman opens up the Israeli flag. I don't even know where he got the flag, but he had it on hand.
Fetterman, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide! Fetterman, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide!
Look at that.
Fetterman, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide!
Wow, I mean that's amazing. The Democrats, they're going to drop that. I would not be surprised. You know, hey, listen, a senator's in there for 6 years, okay? But I would imagine the Democrats are going to look to pass over him next time around, Fetterman, because he's saying the right things about the border, right? And a lot of what he may not be saying it necessarily for the right reason. But what he's talking about on the border has a lot to do with his union support. Now he's openly supporting Israel. Believe me, the Democrats, you don't hear them talking about him being president or vice president anymore, do you? And you don't see him on all those Democrat shows like you used to do. But, I mean, here's our southern border. There's the Great Wall of Trump. And what you're seeing here is going on every minute of every day. I mean, look at this. I mean, how can this be allowed? And I'm hearing some foreign language back there that doesn't sound like Spanish or Portuguese. I mean, look at that. This is our southern border. Yeah, does that sound like Arabic or something going on back there? You know, how is this being allowed? We know that Biden is violating his oath. I mean, right there at the top of the oath is to protect and defend the United States, and we're being invaded. You know, what Biden is doing is not just a violation of his oath. I would say it's treason. If the United States is being invaded by foreigners through one of our borders in numbers like this, we've always had a southern border problem, but never at the levels that we have now. Are we at the point where Biden is committing treason? And certainly wouldn't everyone around him be committing? You know, Mayorkas, everyone talks about Mayorkas. Why is he doing? Mayorkas was brought into the federal government by Obama when Obama was in his presidency. I know he's still running the show, but when he was the official president, Obama, he brought Mayorkas in. So Mayorkas, he works for Obama. He reports to Obama. This is crazy. You know, I got my cruise coming up at the end of April, right? You know, going to Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. I got to dig out my passport this weekend to make sure it's still valid, or I can't get on the cruise ship, right? I know it's valid, but I always like to make sure, because if it's not, if it's expired, I have time to renew it still, right? There's no passports here. You know, and one day I was talking about this yesterday, and I talk about this a lot. You look at the people here. They're well-dressed. Do they look dirty? No. Look at the shoes are even clean. You know, there is an entire military-like operation bringing the millions of illegals across our border every day to keep people clean, fed, hydrated, everything else along the way. You've got to have a massive supply chain like you would have for a massive land army. And a lot of people are doing very good reporting and getting footage like this. But I would like to see some of these people get down into the supply chain so we can find out who's providing the food and water, bathroom facilities, who's picking up the trash along the way. You know, you see all this video of these mass numbers of people going through Mexico. I don't see the sides of the road littered by trash. You know, after Obama's first inauguration, remember all the trash that the Democrats left in the National Mall? Remember that? It was disgusting. It looked like a dump. It looked like the city dump. They just threw all their litter everywhere. Remember that? And there's more people than that jumping the border each and every day illegally. Where's all the garbage? They have people even picking up the garbage along the path, okay? This is not something that's just happening. So, you know, who's supplying all of this? I personally believe China's behind it, okay? I believe China's behind the entire thing, okay? And we know that the fentanyl is manufactured in pharmaceutical plants in China. They ship it to Mexico. The cartels get the fentanyl from the Chinese ships when they dock in Mexico. And this guy's backpack, that's probably filled with fentanyl. This guy's bag, that's fentanyl. Their pockets are filled with fentanyl. You know? That's it. And, you know, I'll tell you something. All the people they're catching, and you'll hear a story or two that, oh, well, they got some people from the terror watch list, for example. Do you hear about massive fentanyl confiscations going on at the southern border? I don't hear too much about that. You know? But this is a fentanyl trafficking ring. And it's many other things, too. It's not just fentanyl. You know, there's a lot of other problems with it, too. You know, and when I'm listening to Biden propose, I was listening to the news early this morning. Well, we want to put some machines at the border that can detect fentanyl. Yeah, how much do those machines cost, and which donor makes those machines? How about just shut down the damn border, finish that Great Wall of Trump that we're looking at right here, and shut down the damn border? How about that? Then you don't have to worry about the multi-million-dollar machines. Each one's probably $1 million or more. Another donor scam that they're trying to run down there on the southern border. I mean, I'm glad people are down there showing this. And I know you don't. While you don't see it on TV too much, it is all over. It's all over the internet, which is where most people get their news and information today. So people are seeing this. And we've had our first two states, Iowa and New Hampshire, vote for Trump overwhelmingly. Remember, Trump got about 73% or so of the vote in New Hampshire, the Republican vote. That's amazing, right? Just swamp them. And every poll, when asked, what is the number one issue, they say what we just were looking at, the southern border. That's the number one issue. And all this talk that they're going to plug someone in other than Obama, other than Biden. I was right that time, too. That's just nonsense. Here's Gavin Newsom being interviewed on MSNBC.
Who in their mind would want to run when you have someone of such esteem as our incumbent president of the United States?
He's talking about Joe Biden, in case you're confused. Yeah.
Who in their mind would want to run when you have someone of such esteem as our incumbent president of the United States, with a record of accomplishments and a man of character, a man of decency? I'm old school. Talk about loyalty. I'll go to ends of the earth for this guy. I really would.
Wow. I mean, you know, so this idea that they're going to plug in Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama, those are just fantasies. Okay, it's going to stick with what they got going on. It's going to stick with Biden because they like how things are going with Biden. You know, they really do. And I also think that they have realized that there is no beating. There's no beating Trump. So I think that they have kind of conceded to themselves that he's unbeatable. So a lot of these people that they would normally bring in, like Gavin Newsom, or even if they had the Michelle Obama fantasy still going on, they're going to lose, and they know they're going to lose, so they don't want to take the chance, okay? And they don't want to go up against him and lose, so they're going to let Biden stay in there. They're not even going to try to get him out, because who wants to go into it and be humiliated? You know, this reelection of President Trump in this second and non-consecutive term very well may be the largest vote turnout for a president we've had in history. I really mean that. You know, I don't mean by the number of states. With the way the states are now, I don't think we can have one of those things where we are going to win every single state and all that stuff. But I'm talking about the actual number of votes. The actual number of votes very likely will be, and you can see this in the early states already, the largest vote turnout for any president elected ever. And people don't, they think they still have a career ahead of them like Newsom. They don't want to go out and be humiliated like that. That's a humiliation you don't come back from. Now, this creep, George Conway here on CNN yesterday talking about our great president, Donald Trump.
It'll stop him from talking about her?
You're talking about E. Jean Carroll.
Maybe for a few hours, maybe for a few days. We've seen it before. We've seen him say and do outrageous things, and early on.
Now, this girl here, she got her ass kicked by Trump on that town hall, remember? He humiliated her beyond imagination. And what happened? They fired the guy that was running CNN, and they promoted her and gave her a primetime show. When she moderated that town hall, that was one of the most humiliating moments for one of the cable news anchors ever. It was beautiful. She got promoted for it, and they fired the executive, ran the company. Who is she? Who is she connected to? Who's she sleeping with? Who's her daddy? Who's her family? I mean, how do you get promoted to a primetime slot after you get just totally humiliated by President Trump live on a town hall on your own network?
In his presidency, we'd see him say the most insane things, and then all of a sudden he'd tamp it down for a few hours and read from a teleprompter, and they'd say, oh, this is the new Donald Trump. Well, there is no new Donald Trump. The Donald Trump that you see today is the same Donald Trump that people who have been watching him closely for years, and who I unfortunately had to watch over the last several years. It's the same Donald Trump. He is, as Judge Kaplan, the presiding judge in this case, said, he's somebody who can't control himself. And he can't control himself because he's a deeply disturbed, a deeply morally bereft human being.
Okay. Why should he, when they say he can't control himself, by the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. You'll love my content. This is the most pro-Donald Trump MAGA place you'll find anywhere. When George Conway and this corrupt judge in New York say that Trump can't control himself, what does that mean? The general thinking is like he's out of control. No. What they mean by this is he doesn't do as he's told. He doesn't allow the deep state to tell him what to do, like Nikki Haley. He doesn't let the donors control what he posts out on social media. The powers that be, the permanent Washington class, they can't control him. That means he's out of control because they can't control him.
Who has no conscience, has no morality, has no empathy, has no remorse, and is sadistic, as we saw during the trial, and as the jurors saw in the trial, right in front of their very eyes, that he had nothing but contempt for the woman that he raped.
Raped? He didn't rape anyone. He shouldn't be angry at her. She makes a false accusation against him. She goes to kangaroo courts and gets judgments. In fact, they changed the law in New York, and she was a party to changing the law. They changed the law in New York just so she could go after Trump, right? Well, he shouldn't be pissed off about that?
And libeled and defamed so many times. This is a sick man. He is a bad man. And what's most disturbing about this is that so many people make this about politics, that they want to support him for whatever reason or because they've done it in the past, and they pretend that he is not who he is. And many of them, some of them are ignoramuses, but many of them in the upper reaches of his political party know better. They know who he is. They talk about who he is behind closed doors. They know he is an evil man. They know he is a sick man. They talk about his mental deficiencies, his psychological disorders. They talk about what a pathological liar he is. And then when somebody asks them to go on the record to talk about it, they say, oh, no comment. I didn't see the tweet.
Okay. This is an interesting thing because have you heard of like motivational speakers, right? George Conway, who's a sick, twisted person. Come on, let's face it. Lincoln Project tier guy. The Trump derangement syndrome sufferers, they're flipping out now. What's going on with Trump, I keep calling it the Trump miracle. After everything they've put him through in the last 3 years, He's ahead of Biden in the latest polls, ahead of Biden by like 6 points in the latest polls, right? That's amazing, right? He's coming back. They know he's coming back. And what they did is they brought George Conway on to say all these stupid, crazy things about President Trump so that these Trump derangement syndrome sufferers like this lunatic, okay, and the couple of viewers of CNN can get their fix. You know, this bizarre Trump hate that's coming out of George Conway is like crack to Hunter Biden. It's like it's a little fix that they need. That he's really a bad man, even though he's performing so well in all the polls. He's really all these things that you want him to believe, that you want to believe that he is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let me tell you, President Trump, you know, the New Hampshire and Iowa, it's amazing at the overwhelming voter turnout President Trump had. And that's what we've got to continue in these primary states. You know, as we go through these different primary states, usually we have more than 2 in the primaries. It's unusual to be down to 2 so soon. Okay? We need that massive turnout in each and every primary state. Each one. Okay? We need to show them what our turnout is going to be like. So even if Trump's the only guy on the ballot, you need to show up. You know, we got to run this campaign like we're 60 points behind every step of the way. Now, guys, if you'd like to support my content, a great way to do that is get your Valentine a Mighty Maga Lion. This is the only Trump-inspired merchandise wearing the MAGA hat, and the Mighty Maga Lion is available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. MightyMagaLion.com. There's a link in the description of the video. Click that link. You can order yours. Makes a great Valentine's Day gift. He comes in a great box. And you can wrap up that box and give it to your Valentine recipient right in that box if you choose when it comes in the mail to you. If you order this morning, your Mighty Maga Lion will be shipped this morning. I'm heading off to the post office today with the orders from the last couple of days that have come through for the Mighty Maga Lion. And if you order this morning, your Mighty Maga Lion will be shipped today. It's also a great gift for yourself. Again, there's a link in the description of the video, MightyMagaLion.com, cute and cuddly, just like our great president. And maybe you want to take it to your next Trump rally or just cuddle up with your Mighty Maga Lion while you're watching Trump speak. He's speaking this afternoon in Nevada. If you imagine watching your Trump speech, watching your Trump rally, you got your Mighty Maga Lion with you. You'll love it. It makes a great gift for yourself and for your Valentine. Also, if you order more than one, you get a discount. And the Mighty Maga Lion is available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. Again, there is a link in the description of the video, MightyMagaLion.com. Order yours. Order this morning during the stream, and it will be shipped out today. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.